Hello and welcome back to Simon's Rants. I'm Simon, and today I'm going to attempt to explain the meaning behind Jordan Peele's Nope, and that shoe. What does the shoe mean? So I do want to explain the shoe, and I will get to that soon, but first I want to back up and kind of explain my opinion on the whole movie at large, because whether or not you've seen this movie, well, if you haven't seen this movie, you probably shouldn't watch this video, you won't understand what I'm talking about, but even if you have, you might not see where I'm coming from, so I'm going to back up just a little bit and talk about everything. Now I know, I just put out a 40-minute long video talking about how I didn't understand Nope, and I loved parts of it but just didn't get it. There was just pieces of information that were left out and we never understood everything. So I've thought about it and I think I know what it's actually about after giving it a couple of days to think about it. And maybe I'm reading into it too much, but here we go, here's my theory. So, basically, the plot of this movie, as you see from the trailers, is that there's a UFO flying around that is abducting horses, people, killing and eating things, because it's not actually a spaceship full of aliens, it is just a singular flying entity, an organism that is moving around that we believe to be alien because we don't know what it is. So this being, this entity, this organism, if you will, goes around sucking up anything it wants, specifically things that look at it. It will suck it up and then eat it and then spit out what it doesn't want. It chews you up and spits you out. There's a lot of references and mentions in this movie to Hollywood. People have pointed out, I'm not the first to say this, that this movie is a commentary on Hollywood. In Get Out and Us, Jordan Peele had very obvious commentaries on different social issues, whether it was racism, classism, or whatever. This movie takes a different approach by having its commentary be much more vague and subtle. And so when I first saw it, it flew over my head. I wasn't really looking for an in-depth commentary like that, and so I didn't really notice it. But that's what I believe it is. It is a commentary on Hollywood. I believe that this UFO, that is not a machine, it is in fact an organism, an entity, represents Hollywood, because people treat Hollywood like it's this machine that is cold, heartless, and ruthless, but in fact, Hollywood is an organism. It's living and breathing, but that doesn't make it less evil, because it still sucks you up and spits you out, and the fact that its power is relinquished if you just choose not to look at it says a lot, because everything in Hollywood, everything in entertainment thrives on the attention that you give it. And it takes you in and it manipulates you and does whatever it wants to you, especially if you're working in Hollywood. If you work in the film industry, then it will take you and spit you out. But even as an audience, it will still use you and manipulate you, and it has all of these issues. We all know the issues going on in Hollywood, obviously, not even just getting into like the whole like Illuminati shit that we don't even know what's going on there, but just on a basic scale with the racism, the sexism, all of the stuff that child actors have to go through. That's all stuff that we all know is real in Hollywood. That all is only able to happen because we continue to look at it. We continue to watch these movies that Hollywood's putting out. If we stopped giving the people in power in Hollywood power by watching their stuff, if we just looked away, they would no longer have power over us or over anybody, because we take that power away just by ignoring them. Then the money leaves, then the power leaves. That's how it works. And I believe that's what this commentary is about. And so you see with Steven Yeun's character that he is a child actor who then grows up thinking that he can tame this beast, tame this animal, despite in his child acting age seeing what happens when an animal isn't tamed properly. It destroys people, it disfigures people, maybe even kills people, yet he still thinks that he can tame and manipulate it and use this, not machine, but organism for his benefit. Yet, as we see, this organism, this entity, will just as soon suck him up, eat him, chew him up, and spit him out just like everybody else. And that is a brilliant, subtle commentary. Now, the biggest thing that bothered me in this movie was the shoe. And I mentioned it in my first thoughts like 4 or 5 times, maybe even more times. I ended up having to cut out about half of that video because we talked for like an hour and a half about this movie, just trying to figure out what does it mean. But the shoe what does the shoe mean? It's never explained, but it's brought up 3 separate times, so it has to have a meaning. You don't just bring something up 3 times for no reason at all. So there's this shoe there, and I think what it represents, and I've been thinking about this for a couple days, because shoe, what does shoe mean? We're waiting for the shoe to drop. We're waiting for the other shoe to drop, which is a very common saying, but it's not something that you immediately connect. At least I didn't. But that, with everything that is going on in Hollywood, like I said, from the Illuminati shit or whatever is going on, to the racism, the sexism, the prejudices, the poor kid actors that are being put through all this stuff, something bad has to happen, and we all know it, and we all know that this can't keep happening forever without something going horribly wrong, and that is the shoe. We're waiting for the shoe to drop. Now, I know the saying is waiting for the other shoe to drop, and in the visual, there's only one shoe because the other shoe is still on her foot. So maybe I'm reading into it too much, but that's the best I can come up with. That's what I think it means. That's what I think the shoe represents. And so if that's the case, I think that's extremely clever. My opinion of this movie has skyrocketed since I came up with this theory, but it is just a theory. This is my interpretation of what I saw. So I think that's the meaning of this movie. I think that's what this shoe represents, but it's still so vague. It's still so subtle that it could mean something else entirely. So what do you guys think? That's what I think. But I'm just guessing here. But either way, I'm much more interested in this movie now, and I know I need to see it again now. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think, and of course, don't forget to like, share, and if you're new here, subscribe. Thanks, guys. Bye.